Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
I posted the link to the slides for today for people to access, and then we're also going to be using an interactive Word doc for a handout. So that link is in there too. So we encourage you to check those out and have those, or just bookmark it for later review. And we're definitely going to be using the second link to interact during the session. So go ahead and see if those are accessible right now. We're glad everyone's with us. Feel free to type where you are at in terms of location or your nonprofit or organization. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So yeah, thanks for posting in the chat, everyone. Bill, do you mind going ahead and saying something so I can hear you?
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I was just muting myself so I didn't get anyone's way.
Oh,
Can
great.
you hear me okay?
Yes. And
Good.
can what I'd like to know, can everyone see my slides? I think my screen, let me know if
I can
Bill,
see them.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Okay, I guess we should go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone. Our session is on literacy lessons on YouTube, curating and creating video content for busy instructors. So type yes if you are a super busy instructor. Also, in a minute, we're going to do introductions in the chat. So we'll get back to that. If you've already typed in where you're at, that's excellent. We're constantly looking at the chat window throughout this presentation. Also, the link to the slides and the handout, I'm going to put in the chat window again. These will be an interactive handout. So when we get to that, we'll explain a bit more about what we mean. So I'm Peggy Semingson, and this is my colleague, Dr. Bill Kerns, and we're going to introduce ourselves right now. So again, welcome. Many thanks for joining us today. So it looks like we have a really good sized group, about 35 people so far. And so I'm Peggy Semingson, and if you were in our session yesterday, you heard about us. So I have been at UT Arlington here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex since 2008. My PhD is in literacy from UT Austin, and I was a classroom teacher and bilingual reading specialist, ESL teacher at the elementary level for many years, 8 years. I'm on Twitter, so feel free to follow me if you're on Twitter as well. I just want to, before Bill goes to share, I want to point out in the chat that Emily says, if you have a question at any time, type it in the chat. And if you would like to receive PD, professional development credit for this session, please enter PD needed and your program title in the chat. And so she will be collecting that information. So I'll turn it over to Bill for an intro.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Bill Kerns. I'm an assistant professor of education at University of Arkansas Little Rock. I specialize in English language arts as well as literacy and other courses, research and so forth. I'm entering my second year at UA Little Rock. Prior to that, I taught at an HBCU, historically Black college university in St. Louis called Aristotle State University. And I've been a high school English teacher, reading teacher, as well as a reading specialist. I also have an ESOL background. I am ESOL certified. One of my schools that I used to teach at in my past in Central Florida was primarily Latino. So that was a little bit of a background there. And you can see my degrees, University of Central Florida, as well as Clemson University. Looking forward to this presentation.
Okay, great. Excellent. So here's our plan for the session, and we're going to go over a few big ideas. It's always good to get grounded in the larger ideas of something. And then we're going to, along the way, talk about content along with we have 2 interactive polls, and I believe we'll be getting help on that. So many thanks for the support behind the scenes. We have a Google Doc to share knowledge. I'm going to put that in there. It's the second link that's posted in the chat. So if you can click where it says handout and have that handy, maybe minimize it for now. We're going to be typing in there. If you don't have access to the web right now, like if you're on your phone, you can just type, you can just write on a notebook or just jot down notes and tell us later in the chat. We'll also do a little bit of share screen. We're not going to totally go over every single actual video, but the links will be in here for you to look at later. So we encourage that. And then at the very end, we're going to design a lesson. I say lesson, but it's really just designing a video concept that might be useful for you and your organization. And then debrief closure will wrap up by 12:55. So that's kind of our plan for this session. And so what we want you to do is think mobile for finding, viewing, sharing, and recording digital content. You can make make use of your mobile device for finding videos, for sharing videos, and for recording videos. You can even edit them within YouTube. So our hub thinking right now is YouTube. You can, of course, always share these videos in different ways through email. You can share them on your website. You can share them if you have social media for your organization. So we really want to think of YouTube as the hub, but there's so many ways to share and get that information to your students and your volunteers out there. Also, we want you to think of the public, people who may potentially fund your organization. So those public-facing videos, those success stories, those motivational videos that help those donors to understand what you do. So we're thinking of curriculum and instruction mainly, of training, and then also of donors and the public. So technology minimalism is the goal. Keep it simple and short bits of content, micro learning. So 1 to 5 minutes is typically good for micro learning. And a lot of the linked videos we have, you'll notice brevity. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Bill.
Okay, good. Yeah, and engagement is so important. That's one thing that social media as well as technology can really link you to. So we'll talk in this presentation about ways to engage your learners through focused video content. You'll learn about how to create as well as curate short educational videos and concepts, especially when it comes to micro learning and mobile learning. We'll focus on language as well as literacy development. We're both literacy teacher educators with a background in that area. We'll focus on ways to use YouTube as well as mobile devices, and ways to use video content that helps with learning and continuity, especially in this pandemic, as well as we go beyond the pandemic. I think that this age of technology is not going away. Okay, so we'll broaden our understanding of video-based learning by viewing examples of video-based learning, as well as distinguishing between different categories of videos: lecture, demonstration, participation. Peggy's done a really good job with her YouTube channel. We'll look at some examples with that. We'll also explore and consider certain ideas on how you can apply this in action, as well as implement ideas for both collecting as well as creating videos on your own, and getting the students involved in that too. So we'll learn practical ways to incorporate social media into standards-based instruction. Remember, you want to meet your standards, but you want to be creative too. Minimize risk while leveraging learning opportunities. The framework we'll look at network learning theory as well as participatory culture. In other words, students are networking together to build on their knowledge. They're also participating, and community of inquiry, the idea that students are in this joint community together with shared goals, shared values. We'll take away concrete ideas for specific video production by both yourself as well as your students. And we'll become more strategic and intentional, purposeful about modeling best practices in social media as well as teacher education. So we'll look at, and I want you guys to introduce yourselves a little bit here. Obviously, we've got a lot of people here, so maybe we might not have time for every single person, but just volunteer. Tell us something about yourself, your name, organization, where you're at, what kind of clientele you'll look into, and optionally, maybe you can talk about what you hope to learn from this presentation, as well as your past experience with digital learning. So just volunteer, anyone, go ahead.
Oh, this is for the chat window.
Yes, please.
Yeah. But yeah, we are using the hand raising tool. So if anyone would like to raise their hand, we can call on you. So feel free. While people are typing, I'll just share. So I've taught with taught ESL to adults through the Dallas Public Library, and I've actually taught virtually to adult ESL students in Siberia. So besides the time frame difference, we used WebEx and we used a blog to teach adults. And honestly, the main issue was the time zone, but the tools worked well. I thought I saw a hand, but I
I see. I think it was Anthony that had a hand up.
Okay, I don't know. I don't see it anymore. But let's look in the chat. So we've got people, no experience, ABE program coordinator in Plano, welcome. GED, Collin County Adult Literacy, ESL tutor, Masters in TS and TESOL or TESOL. Someone is a digital literacy instructor at Brazosport, Ursula. So great. We welcome
Literacy
your ideas.
coordinator.
I see Lester. Hi, Lester. Lester got me involved in this organization. So many thanks to Lester Merriweather at Literacy Connexus. I know he's really interested in video. And Laura is at TCall down at A&M College Station. Oh, we've got Oklahoma. And Bill is in Arkansas. So we are from many states.
The place.
Yeah. Let's see, Deborah. And Deborah, were you here yesterday too? Dallas Public Library, currently teaching GED Spanish via Zoom. Great. Excellent. And ESL at Southland Baptist Church, San Angelo. Everyone that's posting, we'd like you to repost it, but please be sure to click all panelists and attendees. So if you don't mind, grab what you posted, copy it, and paste it back in the window, but be sure to click on the drop down, all panelists and attendees. If you don't click that link, then people won't be able to see it, only us.
Yeah,
So,
and it's possible others might. I see some people asking why they can't see other comments. That might be a reason.
That's why I said that. That's why I said that. Yeah, so go ahead and please repost. Yeah, thanks y'all. We're flexible learners. So please repost your intro, and then everyone just scroll through and see your colleagues and people in this community.
Yeah, and my background in this area, I've been, back when I lived in Central Florida, in the Orlando area, I taught English, high school English. I was a high school reading teacher, high school reading specialist, and curriculum specialist. Many of my students were ESOL, so I got trained in that area as well, and I was incorporating ESOL into my intensive reading instruction as well as English instruction. And I'm now a teacher educator at University of Arkansas Little Rock.
Great, thank you.
I see Danny raise a hand.
Okay, go ahead, Danny. Oh, let's see. I'm not sure we're going to be able to use your microphone, Danny. Can you type it in the chat window?
Or if you hit unmute.
I tried. It said.
Okay.
Won't work.
We would promote him to a panelist.
We can do that. Okay. Go
But
ahead, Danny. Yeah, let's see.
He says he didn't raise his hand. Okay.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Never mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Accident. That's how. Okay. Thanks, everyone. It looks like many of us are from Texas. We're from all different kinds of programs. So really enjoying seeing mostly nonprofits or kind of public agencies. That kind of thing. So excellent. Midland, Odessa. We are fairly tech savvy and familiar with digital teaching. However, we struggle with YouTube. Alba, let us know in the chat, what is it about YouTube that y'all want to do? Kingsville, and we've got Collin County Adult Literacy Council again. Let's see, nonprofit, volunteer. Hi, Laurel, welcome back.
Those of you that are librarians, I know that Peggy and I both have a soft spot for libraries. My mother was a librarian, so I grew up in libraries. I'll let Peggy tell you something about her love of libraries.
Yeah, I love them. Great. Okay, we've got Waco, McLennan Community College with a grant-funded program, work mostly with high school dropouts, 16 to 72. That's amazing. It's never too late to learn. So sometimes work with non-English speakers, tech savvy, very low. We aimed this presentation at all levels. So we're going to kind of build towards the more complex. So by the end, you know, just when we talk about creating videos, we really want you to, you know, take baby steps with all of this. So the main thing you can do is look at videos to see how it's done. So we've curated some good examples. So let's see, any more input? Okay, so we're going to keep going, but please turn it over to you, Bill, for these. And let's see, yeah. Actually, I think, are these mine?
I think I'm.
Not yet. Okay, your turn.
Not yet.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so a little bit about our research base. We're not going to get too into theory and all that stuff. But one thing that we know that the research does show us is that you learn more about your vocabulary in a functional way if you combine video and other forms of imagery with non-imagery than if you just do it in non-concrete forms alone. So multiple modes of learning help you learn vocabulary in a more functional way, and other concepts too. Not just vocabulary, of course. We know that it's important to provide guidance to learners as they do technological tools. Think of scaffolding, guiding students toward independence and toward mastery. Teachers can use mobile devices and mobile learning to foster literacy gains, and then you have to do that in a very careful, scaffolded way.
Yeah, we're really going to emphasize mobile learning here.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we'll look at conceptual overview of multimedia and digital content such as video with adult learners, adult literacy, as well as ESOL teaching, a strong emphasis on both adult literacy as well as ESOL. And we are both teacher educators with a background in this area. We both use video as well as distance learning modalities regularly. Okay,
yeah, we're ready for a poll.
Okay, so quick little question for you guys. What is your background with using YouTube for teaching and learning? Okay, here's and you guys can see the poll. Interesting.
Kind of a normal curve here.
Okay, I'm going to end it.
Okay.
Interesting results. 90% of you have either very little background or some background.
Yeah, okay, but 3 of us have, and I didn't vote, but have advanced background. So that's awesome. Okay, perfect. So thank you so much. And all right, so let's see. That was a great poll, and we have one more poll for you too in this session. I'll go ahead and do that. So what we want you to think about is curating and creating. So you may work your way towards creating videos, but again, we're going to encourage you. You can do informal mobile-based recordings for your organization. Think about the flipped classroom. So even I saw some people who's using live teaching like Zoom. Type yes or Zoom or something in the chat window to let us know. Think about the flipped classroom. You can have students watch content before they come to the session and practice. Have you done this? Where they practice some speaking or reading or listening or comprehending before they come, and then you're able to talk about the video. So think really about this model. And I got this from UT Austin. So flipped classroom, students prepare to participate like by watching a video. During the session, that would be your Zoom session or GoToMeeting or Blackboard Collaborate. They're rehearsing again or practicing, or you're talking about something that they did with the video content. And then after they can check their understanding or maybe watch the next video or maybe create a video. It just depends. So we're going to kind of toggle back and forth between ESL and literacy. The bulk of the resources we found, interestingly, and maybe this kind of resonates, is that most of them were actually ESL. There's a lot of ESL YouTube content. There's not enough adult literacy content. Maybe who's noticed that? Type yes. I mean, if you go to YouTube and just type in adult literacy, you see some videos, but there's just not enough of like, here's how to learn to read, or here's how to better your comprehension, or our favorite topic, vocabulary. Like, how do you develop vocabulary? And that kind of thing. Yeah, not enough adult content. And if it's out there, it's like somebody in a room with poor audio. I mean, then this is no offense to them. They're trying, but we're under-resourced. So we really encourage people to think about creating video content for your adult learners in the adult literacy sphere. Again, there seems to be more ESL content. And then also think about student created content as well. This is a link we're not going to dive into. And let's see if Bill, do you want to, if you have the PowerPoint, if you want to put that link in there in the chat. So this is the Creator Academy for YouTube, and you can subscribe to this and get emails. They tell you how to start a channel. As you know, YouTube is owned by Google, so it's going to be tied in with your Google account. So you can just Google YouTube Creator Academy, starting an educational channel, and they have tons of videos. So you watch YouTube videos to learn how to do YouTube videos. So I just wanted to throw that out there and as a resource. Another resource that we're not going to go totally into, but it's also great, is SoundCloud. Type yes if you have used SoundCloud. It's mainly a lot of audio content. It's all audio content, but you can do short micro-learning segments on here. So if you don't need a video, you can do audio, and you get 3 free hours. Your organization can consider purchasing, this to use, but with 3 hours, you can really get a lot of content in there. So SoundCloud is another backup tool platform where you can do content. Your students could record themselves reading out loud. You can give feedback. It has playlists. Again, think micro-learning, 1 to 5 minutes. And there's a SoundCloud mobile app, so students can pull up these short podcasts. So I do want to mention the audio. We're mainly focusing on video. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Bill for some general tips.
Okay, some general tips, big picture. You want to conduct it by phone if needed. That gives you flexibility. Obviously, we know with the digital gap, some of your students may or may not have access to the technology, so use the tools at your disposal. You can seek advice for troubleshooting, for technology issues. Don't be afraid to ask for help, as well as for your students. A lot of your students won't have the background, so you need to seek advice well in advance. You want to make sure that you know and you can anticipate what kind of problems, what kind of questions your students might have, because in many ways you will be a tech help person as well as an instructor. You should be able to give your students tips on how to work the technology, structuring the online experience, and we'll look at how to do that in this presentation too. And we'll consider how to make video-based demonstration tutorials in this presentation.
Okay, awesome. It's time for your thoughts and ideas. So we have just kind of a very general question that everyone can participate in. And so if you'll click this link, we want you to add to the Google Doc. Why is it important to use video? We have workbooks and curriculum with students, but right now they may or may not have access to that. So we're improvising in many ways. So we want to hear your thoughts. So and if you can't click on the document, or it's not working, or you just don't want to add ideas there per se right now, you can just write this down in a notebook next to you. So what are reasons to use video with adult literacy and ESL? How does it support learning outcomes in your organization for your students and learners? What are advantages, caveats, just everything you're thinking about kind of right now. So I'm going to click this. And Bill, can you see the document, or are you still seeing my Google Slides?
I can see the document.
Okay,
it's
great.
a little bit small, but I can, oh, sorry.
Let me make it bigger. Okay, so I see people typing. So again, the link is in the handout. So if you can't access the link, just type on a piece of paper or type in the chat window, as a backup. So we've got plan B is your own notebook. And
I
then
can see
plan
some people
C
saying they
is
couldn't
the chat
access the
window.
link.
Okay, let me try it again. I'm going to put it in the chat again. So try that. Okay, and then we'll give you a few minutes to type. So Catherine says it helps visual learners. Yes, reinforces what I just taught. Breaks up the lecture, provides variety. Excellent. Okay, and then Okay, so good. And seeing some of these things. We'll give people about 2 or 3 minutes to type some ideas. And Bill, feel free to add to the Google Doc yourself.
I love how active people are being.
To me, it's flexible learning.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
And sometimes when people watch videos in their household, other people can learn as well. So the whole family can learn is the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
How did the Google Doc change everyone into cute animals? I don't know. It's just kind of does that, doesn't it? It can look a little scary when you have 50 people on the same document too. But this is a technique you can use with your learners too, is pause periodically and have people write in real time, and allocate that time to your Zoom session. Okay.
And then have a little bit, it gives people a little bit of time to debrief. You can debrief about why were you saying that sort of thing, gives time for reflection.
Let me try sharing the link one more time. Again, if for some reason it's not working, type in the chat because we're definitely monitoring the chat the whole time. Okay, our ABL program is 1-to-1. COVID has created a necessity for digital learning. Thanks for that. Okay, so let's read what we have so far. Play at one's own pace. You can watch them, they can watch them again, or even multitask. Multimedia uses all the senses, shows situations you cannot see in a classroom. Videos engage the learner and provide a brain break, good for visual. Okay. Multimedia is how many people see the world, caters to another type of learning, all learning styles, helps students understand native speed speaking. So yeah, and I would just say modeling. So especially with the speaking and listening, you can also do a technique called thinking aloud, where you read a piece of text and then you talk out loud about what it means. And so they're getting that comprehension focus. They hear modeled reading, so they hear good reading, effective phrased and fluent reading. That's another potential thing. So, okay, great. I'm gonna toggle back to the slides and we'll keep going. For the sake of time, we wanna stop at about 12:30. Okay, so I'm gonna go over a bit of content. Let me just double check. Yes, okay. So this is my YouTube channel, and Bill, if you don't mind putting that link in the chat window, people can bookmark it. And what I love about YouTube is you can, if you see the different tabs on it, you can create videos, but you can also create playlists. And so playlists are something you can definitely use with your students. So let me just click the link and type yes if you can see my YouTube channel. I'm not going to play audio. Just type yes if you can see my YouTube channel on the screen. Perfect. Okay, thank you. Okay, great. Okay, we're good to go on that. So you can create a cover to create branding, identification. And I think I made that on Canva. If you go to canva.com, that's where I make my cover slides, everything that, quote, decorates your channel. So now the problem with the video tab is it's just a mess of videos. These aren't organized in any way. You can create tags, but that's trickier. So I recommend thematic playlists. So for example, when the shutdown happened, I instantly made a series of videos teaching online in the shutdown. And so when you go there, once you start it, they're all compiled together. And the advantage is that they just sort of follow one after another. It's kind of like you can't stop listening to them. And so you can curate, you can find videos and make a playlist, or you can organize your own videos in a playlist. So I love little free libraries, so I made a playlist about them. So who thinks that might be useful? Let's see, okay, close that. Who thinks that might be useful to make a playlist of videos for your students? So any thoughts on that?
I definitely do think it's useful. And in fact, that's something I need to do too. If you were to go on my channel, I've got pretty much nothing on there, but it's very, very useful. I love it.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go over how to make a playlist, but you can look that up. But basically, you find your videos, and one of the options is to add to playlist. And so you name your playlist, and you just start compiling those videos and give it a really easy to understand title. So a playlist is just a group of videos. So 5 to 10 videos around a theme. So you can see that. So if you click on playlists, you can see like I have, you know, the Little Free Library playlist. And so I had about 5 videos just on that theme. Yes, so it can be theme or category or objective. So like developing pronunciation. Again, I'm using a lot of ESL examples. So the playlist is just a group of videos around a theme, categorized. So it really helps when you're learning. It could be a module too, like module 1 videos. It doesn't have to necessarily be a theme. Module 2 videos, or by date, you know, July videos, August videos, that kind of thing. So it's just up to you. Okay, so let's talk about categories. These apply more to making videos. So think about making videos as well. So you can do short lectures for students, teaching them about something. Again, 1 to 5 minutes. So you might have part 1, part 2, part 3. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to just all be in that one short video. It can be a series of videos. Microlearning and modeling demonstration as well, and dialogue. Vocabulary development could be one, and participation. So these are just all examples of the ways you might categorize your videos. Oh, and I meant to say dialogue videos are where myself and another expert are talking. So Bill and I have done a few videos where we're talking about something, and we record those on Zoom. So students can benefit from hearing us engaging in that conversation about an academic topic. And so we've done that for our pre-service teachers. So it's really helpful because it's authentic. Would you agree, Bill?
Absolutely. You've done a number of those with a number of both teachers as well as teacher educators and people in the public. And I love those. You know, they get very dialogic. You want to keep them informal, yes, informative, but also informal enough that people actually enjoy watching the videos.
So yeah, so if you look on the right side, here's just a few key tips. So you want engagement. Jump right into your content. Don't do a lengthy intro. Don't, you know, just jump right in. Say, we're going to learn about X and Y, and let's get ready to learn. And then you jump into whatever it is you want them to learn or review or practice. And semi-scripted, so you can write some notes for yourself. And then length, short. You want brief, get to the point. So jump right in. Again, sometimes it helps to do videos just on the trickier concepts. So let's say you're teaching grammar, pick the hardest concepts for your students and then make videos on those so that they can watch them. Something where they may need to review it a few times to really get it, and then it clicks all of a sudden. And then you want captions on your videos, so especially ESL. So captions, research suggests captions enhance learning, and so they're seeing it and they're hearing it and that kind of thing. They're reading as well. And okay, so here's just some examples where I am lecturing about a concept. So that might be one example that you do. So here I'm explaining what is mentor text, and I give some examples, and you can see it's 4 minutes, so it's really short. Demonstration videos. So I'm demonstrating, talking to a child about their favorite books. It's my niece. This is pre-COVID when we could visit people. So I shared this, and my students really love demonstrations. They like to see things in action. So demonstration videos, that's just a screen grab. From that, this is the dialogue videos we were talking about. I got an expert in to share. So you might think about maybe community resource people for your videos. Again, this is a traditional lecture. I'm literally standing in the front of a room, and I'm talking about a very tricky concept for teachers, which is phonological awareness and phonics. So, and then you can make them entertainment style. So here I was doing a skit, And a lot of ESL and literacy videos for adults benefit from this style of video where it's kind of slightly entertaining and it grabs your attention. It's not boring. And then these are just some other things I've done. I've used avatars, that's a little more advanced, where it's a cartoon version of yourself and that kind of thing. Another thing you should do as an organization, and tell me what you think about this in the chat, is analytics. So what do you think about this? You track your data and you're seeing which videos people are looking at. And you can look at average view duration. So if they're just clicking on and then clicking off, you know that that video was not engaging for that audience. So I'm a huge fan of analytics. You can put these numbers in your reports as well, in addition to using them. So we covered really quickly some types of videos, some categories of videos, and in a minute, we're going to just share some examples. So we're going to go through these pretty quickly. So we do encourage you to look through these on your own, in your own time. So here's some examples of what you might do. And then we want you to apply this to your situation. Technology. So how to be in a Zoom session. Who thinks your students might type yes if you think your students would benefit from how to be in a Zoom session? That's literacy, that's digital literacy, that's how to type in the chat window, that's how to speak, that's what to say. And here's where you might actually demonstrate it with a colleague, like when you can both be in the Zoom session and you can, model that practice. I still get nervous about Zoom. I've been doing this since 2011 and I still am like, wait, how does this go? So if we're nervous, think about our students, right? Yeah, so I'm telling you, I live and breathe technology and I get nervous. So our students would really benefit from seeing a walkthrough. And we mentioned a tool yesterday, and Bill, if you could link it in the chat, Screencast-O-Matic. You can walk them through the Zoom, and I think that alone would be good. And they're still benefiting. So yeah, so I think we all agree on that one. And then modeling. Oh, and then you might put examples of language they might use in the session, or how to ask for technology help during the session, that kind of things. Okay, and then speaking, modeling speech and examples for ESL. Grammar, this applies to adult literacy and ESL. Direct lessons on grammar, these need to be engaging. And we're gonna show you some examples where they've used cartoons for this, or avatars. And dialogue, listening and speaking, two people having a conversation, reading a piece of text and thinking aloud about it, summarizing it out loud. Again, short, not a novel, but a short piece of text. And then writing, share how to write. You might use a Google Doc. You might record your screen, showing how to get started with writing, and then having students generate some writing. So, okay, so I'm going to, again, very briefly just touch on some examples, and I'm not going to actually even click on these, but it's going to be kind of a quick bus tour of some examples, and then we'll ask you what you think about videos. So, professional development videos, who has been, and please type in the chat if you have ideas, who's been developing professional development videos to train volunteers, and how's that going? Here's some examples that we found: importance of working together, tutoring using phonics, how to teach fluency with oral reading. These are short videos that focus on training the volunteers. So they're short, they're very visual, they're very brief, just a snapshot. So we encourage you to look through these links on your own. Each one is like 5 minutes, so we don't have time to go through them, but just look at them as examples and think about what you want your volunteers to know and do. I would say I would not go over 20 minutes for demonstration videos. People tend to click away after that. And again, remember the analytics, you can track that. So one of the best websites I know of for creating training videos, and again, we're focusing on ESL because it's more prevalent out on YouTube, is the British Council. Who's familiar with this organization? So They are a very large organization that has a lot of YouTube videos. They also do Facebook Live. So follow them on Facebook, just British Council Teaching English and Learn English. And I mean, there's like 1,000 people watching them on Facebook Live. And so they're really leveraging video well. So I would check them out, British Council, and look at their videos to see how they're creating content for learners. Is there a handout we can print for these videos? No, but you mean everything compiled, Ruby? They're all just in the slides. So Bill, if you don't mind sharing the link to the slides again, just make sure everyone has it. Also, you can email us as well, and we'll email you the slides if you want to share them with people. Again, these are just kind of tip of the iceberg links. So, okay, and then examples of videos. So here's, think too about the motivational success story videos that you want to create. Who has done this, where you make videos of students who have learned to read and write and what difference it made in their career and family and personal pride? Has anyone done this? These are great. There's tons of these out there. I mean, there's just tons. They're all over the news. It actually needs more attention, I think. But there are quite a bit. So R.M. Crocker says we did. And if you want to tell us more about that and how it went, let us know. I just think these are great for educating people. Some people aren't even aware about issues of adult illiteracy. And so just aware, I would call these just basic awareness campaign videos. And they can be shared, with many people in the public facing area. Okay, back to literacy, writing. So here, just short mini lessons are best. So here's an example: improve your writing, show, not tell, how to improve your writing, that kind of thing. And then again, the British Council, I'm gonna click on their YouTube channel. And Voice of America Learning English is also an excellent example of a lot of video content around adult ESL. But let's look at the British Council. And type yes if you can see this YouTube channel. And again, I'm not going to play the videos, but you can see they have these title covers for them, really basic titles. That's always good. Tells you in big font what the video is about. Okay, thank you. You can click on playlists and see, I love it. English for emails, it's very current. That kind of thing. It's all levels. They're engaging, they're entertaining. So check out the British Council YouTube channel. That's just a really good one, I think. And then again, listening. There are tons of listening ones. I mean, listening is almost the easiest aspect of literacy. We found this channel, Easy English, and we're not recommending that you necessarily use this channel, but it gives examples for how you might structure videos. So let's see, and they're cartoons, but they can be used for adults. I was actually enjoying listening to these. So making a new friend, verbs, that's coming along nicely. So it's using English, but it's also the pragmatics, how to use, manners and how to be subtle when you're talking and that kind of thing. And then colloquial phrases, they just have a ton. So you can see they kind of have a system. They have a just very short and sweet video set series that could really be used for ESL. So I think that's it for examples, types of videos. What we'd like you to think about is adding to the Google Doc. So Bill, do you want to lead us over there and tell us what we'll be doing there? I'll click on the link. And again, if it's not working for you, I'm going to post the link again. Then go ahead and type in the chat window. So what are we typing here?
Oh, looks like examples of how you're using these for these videos for curating content and just ideas for how you can use them in your own classroom.
Yeah, so if the link doesn't work for you, please type in the chat window. We're looking there constantly. So examples of using videos, we talked, what are your ideas? Just type them in this box right here. So we've got a couple categories: professional development or training for volunteers. And if you just want to type what you're currently doing or hope to do, that's great as well. Or just general ideas for the group, for the benefit of the group. Listening videos, what might you find or create? Speaking, reading is applicable to all of us. Writing, what kind of videos might be useful to your students? And then inspirational success story videos. So let's give people a couple minutes. And then after we're done with this, Bill is going to lead us through the last poll.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we've got ideas in the chat. That's okay. If it's too much, just read. You can be in what we call read-only mode, so you can read other people's, and that's participation. Okay, so listening to American pronunciation would be great. Volunteer training, math demonstrations. We haven't even talked about math. Thank you for noting that. Okay, and having students respond to a video. Give short headlines and point to longer feature stories. You can also introduce a text. So if you're all reading a shared book or text or passage, you can do a 30-second video introducing it. So students get a sense of what it's about, what they're going to read.
I'm not sure who you would contact for hands-on training. That's maybe your local school or organization would do that. Do you know of anyone for hands-on training?
It would have to be someone internal to your organization.
Yes. Yes.
Honestly, I've used YouTube to learn how to make YouTube videos.
Sometimes you just have to teach yourself, and that's
yeah. But in the last part of this, we're going to talk about making your own videos, and I suggest using your phone or webcam on your computer and Zoom. Okay, we've got some good ideas in here on our document. I think we're going to head back over to the slides, but feel free to keep adding to our document about types of videos. In the last segment of this session, we are going to ask you, we're going to talk about creating videos. So Bill, if you'll lead us in our poll.
Okay, yeah. So here's our second poll question. We just want to get your feedback a little bit on locating equipment to record videos. What type of equipment might you use to record videos? Would you say that you would use mobile phone, tablet, video camera, laptop and webcam, or other?
So thanks everyone. If you want to type in the chat too.
Yeah, go for it. Feel free. I see Blair Lanning has a raised hand.
Oh, okay. Oh no, it was an accident, I think.
Okay.
Lots of mobile. Okay,
yes.
Great. Okay, so the results are in. 62%, overwhelming majority say mobile phone or tablet. I would agree.
Yes.
And video camera, I guess those days are over.
Yes.
Or laptop and webcam.
Or video cameras.
Video cameras are expensive, right? Exactly. And then you have to offload it. With video, I think with social media, more and more of us are using video and then sharing it instantly, you know.
Yes.
Personal videos and that travel videos, whatever. So, okay, thanks. Awesome. Okay, so just to for the sake of brevity, we're just going to give a few suggestions on making videos, and we really recommend the mobile-based videos. You can still do quality with mobile videos, and since you're keeping them short, you know, it's a lot easier. So we encourage no to low budget with minimal tools, and have an objective, an outcome. You can write a basic script. Another technique for making videos is storyboarding. So if you look on the internet, look up video storyboarding templates. Video storyboarding templates, and you can plan the basics of your video, and it's just sketching stick figures in there, and adding a bit of ideas, sort of your main ideas for your video, so you can sequence it and decide. And then gather props and resources, if any. The 3 main video recording devices I suggest are: 1, Screencast-O-Matic, where you can record your screen. So that would be like making a how to join Zoom tutorial, or how to be in Zoom for your students. Using Zoom to record a session, and that's really good if you're sitting in front of the camera, or you're inviting a colleague in to talk together about a topic, or a mobile device. And then editing, so you can edit within YouTube, or there are mobile apps for video editing. And so just, you know, some practical ideas. So just kind of be thinking about how you can apply these ideas to your program for your own program's sake, and also how you can use them with adult learners. I do want to say that when you have a YouTube channel, it's really important to add what we call a cover to your video. And so if you go to my channel, if you have time later, and you'll see that a lot of videos have a really bright cover. That might be too much for you, but I've made these in Canva. And it's free. So if you go to canva.com, you can click a YouTube thumbnail and make a cover with the name of your agency and the name of the video and whatever background you want to use, maybe your logo. And you can have some standardization to what those videos look like on the title slide. Otherwise, you're going to have a random picture on there of somebody's face, and it may or may not be flattering in terms of what YouTube captured for that screen grab. And so I really encourage you to use covers for your videos. They'll help too when students are looking for those videos on your YouTube channel. Okay, and Bill is going to get us started on thinking about a lesson. So I'm going to click on the document. And Bill, do you want to go over the little 4 bullets?
Okay, so and this is just basic lesson planning. Think about your objectives, what do students want to learn. We get into Bloom's taxonomy there, of course. We think in advance, if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? So your objectives are a very important thing in advance about what tools you need, how you're going to utilize it. Okay, so now we've got the Google Docs up. And so just go ahead and I guess we're typing in how would you do this?
Yeah, don't type here. If you can copy and paste or type in the chat window so that we don't have, you know, a bunch of ideas directly here, but copy and paste the objective, tools needed, if any, your video idea, and then how you might assess learning, if any. The last part might not be needed. And I'm going to put these in the chat window too, so you can grab them there. So these are kind of the basics of videos. And then just, if you want, just use your notebook. You don't have to be digital right now. You can be low tech. And then in about 6 minutes, we will come back together and ask people's ideas for making a video.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give people that time to kind of jot down a video idea based on what we've been talking about. And you might look back up here through the document in this middle part and in the slides for ideas.
Singing.
If anyone wants to use the audio, just raise your hand. We'd love to hear your ideas while you're
Yeah, feel
thinking.
free. We want this to be interactive. I like the idea of singing and music and rhythm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, can't do audio. Okay. So we'll use chat. So go ahead and type your idea in the chat window about your video idea, just kind of what you're thinking so far. Okay, digital, so Ruth says digital literacy for our learners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So there's many aspects of digital literacy, for anywhere from joining a session to reading online, to navigating, what is it, fake news? I mean, it's all relevant right now. So, okay, I need to create a welcome. Okay, excellent. How to register for your program and how to use Zoom for training. Those are all super practical. Like if you can't register, then how do you participate? And then how to use Zoom for training. That's excellent. I think most of us are on Zoom or some type of synchronous system with our students. And then I love the idea of a welcome. We didn't even mention that, but the welcome is an outreach video. You can, are you thinking like welcome to the program or welcome from the director? There's so many different types of welcome videos. So great ideas. Anyone else? We'd love to hear from people. Feel free to type in the chat.
One thing you might want to look into, and I know it's not adult literacy specific, but it can be tied into, Tim Rosinski has done a lot with poetry and rhythm and rhyme in relation to fluency. And for any of your adult learners who are trying to learn a second language perhaps and working with fluency issues, I love the idea of rhyme games and rhythm games and singing and participation and getting active, getting involved.
Definitely. Great. Okay, thanks. I think for time, I'm gonna turn it back over to Bill, and he's got a few concluding thoughts, and then we'll just talk about goals, and that's it. So go for it.
We'll just do this real briefly because we want to have time for a debrief, question and answer before 12:55. So just real briefly, we know that this is very much timely. And like I said, I view it as timely as well as timeless because it's not going away. We finished this presentation in the middle of the pandemic, of course. And so I think that we're dealing with how do we address instruction during a time of crisis, and then how do we get into what we might think of as the new normal with online instruction. It can be made available through personal computer as well as smartphone like we've been talking about. And we believe that it is absolutely vital to provide teachers with training to effectively conduct online instruction. That's one thing we saw with the spring semester. Many teachers were feeling unprepared and unsupported by local districts or universities or community organizations, what have you. And so that lack of preparation meant that we were dealing with crisis mode instead of true online instruction the way it's supposed to be. So here we go into a little bit of debriefing, a little bit of dialogue. What are some of your overall thoughts? For instance, now that we are in a pandemic, what role do you see as videos having for mobile learning in as well as outside of the classroom? Also, how can we help students to use video-based content? What are some of your personal goals as whether you are a teacher or you are a leader of an organization, perhaps an administrator? And what other thoughts do you have? At this point, we're turning it over to you for a little bit of dialogue.
Yeah, definitely. And now's a good time too, if anyone has questions and that type of thing. So final thoughts or questions, feel free to type those in the chat.
Yeah, we know we can't speak, but feel free to just chat. We're monitoring the chat. Yeah, you're right, Blair. Our world has changed so much.
Privacy. So you can share videos in 3 ways. You can share them so that they're listed publicly. That means anyone can find them by searching for them or viewing them on your channel. You can also list them unlisted. So only people with that link can view them. So some people like to do that. Yeah, I would say most organizations share their video, nonprofits and schools share their videos publicly. I would say it's more the commercial type YouTube channels that keep them a little more invisible. Obviously, if you have students creating videos, you would want to keep those private. I want to help my students stay motivated as some of their loved ones are getting ill. Right, so we haven't even talked about stress, trauma, and so on. But that's another reason to keep this content short, because students may not have the time to literally focus their attention on something really long, even in the best of times. So now that we're overloaded, we all are, ourselves included, you know, keeping that content short avoids that overload for everybody. The privacy for your students, when a student clicks on a video, I don't know, it's just like searching on Google, I think. Is that what you mean for privacy? I'm not really sure. Again, YouTube is owned by Google, so
yeah, and it
they're
is
probably
searchable.
tracking something. He or she is asking about student privacy. So just viewing a video is no different than surfing the web, really. I mean, they may get pop-up ads in there wherever people get pop-up ads, but that just comes from being on the internet. Okay, let's look at a few things. My tutors have been complaining about not being able to meet long enough, thinking about making videos or short lessons and activities outside of tutoring. That's great. Blended hybrid learning is the new future of education. In-person virtual work at own pace. Yes, so the asynchronous, this really fits with the asynchronous or non-real time. Is it safe? Yes, watching YouTube videos, in my opinion, is safe. My students are trying to learn and stay in class with their children, are at home with them, and that can actually be an advantage if it's not distracting. Students can wear headphones, certainly, but sometimes students and their family may benefit from learning alongside them. We will never go back to normal. Videos in real time will soon make up majority. So interesting. Providing human connection to students where face-to-face is not recommended. Yeah, so definitely they can see you, and that's why we encourage you to create your own videos, not just curate. So curate is finding videos. Creating, they can at least see you, like the welcome video is a great start. Encouraging.
At least there's some sort of connection.
Exactly, yeah. Excellent. Any thoughts, Bill?
One choice that I've been making, and it's something that I've been playing with as I've been making my own videos more and more and posting them on YouTube, is the choice between making them so that no one can find them unless I provide the link, or making them searchable by the public. At first, if you were to go on my YouTube channel right now, you won't find much because I've made it so that only my students can see it if I provide them with a link. I'm thinking of changing that so that the public can see my lessons that I give to students. But what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to make sure that I silence the content, silence the comments that people can make underneath my videos, because I noticed that when I made a video public for my students, I got a person making a lewd comment from the public underneath one of my comments. So think about stuff like that. Some of the pros and cons that YouTube does have.
Yeah, so you can have it so that if a student posts, I mean, if you post a video and it's public, then if you get a spam comment, you can delete it, but you can also have it filtered so that you have to approve all comments.
Yeah, and I'm recommending filtering when you're dealing with educational type stuff. Be very careful about that sort of thing, because people will sometimes do stupid stuff.
Okay, we have a question. When you use the interactive form, I'm assuming you mean Google Doc. Can that track to the student. I'm not sure. If it's anonymous, like we had the duck and the, the anonymous stuff, I don't know. It's less trackable. They would have to be logged in through their Google email for it to track them. So yeah, if you're not sure, I mean, you can Google it to look up. No, I've not used TikTok. I have heard things about their data that makes me not want to use TikTok. But I know young people use it. I avoid TikTok. I'm actually not on Instagram either. So I taught them how to look for good videos, short to the point, lots of views. Yeah, so having students search for their own video content, definitely, and they're doing that anyway. So, okay, great. We'd like you to just kind of share any final thoughts on the document. It's not required, or just, final thoughts and goals. So we'd love for you to type a goal into either the document or the chat window, and Emily's posting our contact information. So at the very bottom, right here, if what are your final thoughts? Feel free to share them on the chat, in the chat, or in the closure box. And so, or if, anything you want to share or ask of us right now is also good. So
yeah, feel free.
Thoughts, next steps, that kind of thing. So we have a comment. Some people don't know they can search. Yeah, definitely digital literacy is a big part of literacy right now. And so sharing those. Yes, our emails, Emily just posted them, but we'll repost them in the chat.
Here's mine.
Feel free to reach out to us, and also check out my YouTube channel and subscribe. As I post new content, you can see it.
And I'm on Twitter. My Twitter's on the thing, but honestly, I need to do more with YouTube, unlike.
I really recommend baby steps with this. And so I would try the welcome video. So just write out your main points, and then practice it, and then have someone help you. It's a team effort, although you can get little tripods for your phone.
There's my Twitter handle. I don't tweet all that often. I've gotten very few followers, relatively speaking, but eventually I'll get more into Twitter.
So thanks, everyone. We really, really appreciate you joining our session. And we hope that you can try this out, even, again, if it's just a short introduction to your organization, or, try Screencast-O-Matic, Zoom, and mobile phones for learning.
Yes, yes.
Final thoughts. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Hope
it.
you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day.